I'll give you some of this if you give me some of this. Hey everyone, it's Mark. I'm here to help you put more money in your pocket through credit cards and smart financial habits. If that sounds good to you, then do me a quick favor and click on the like and subscribe button down below. Also check out the links I have posted down below in the description area to apply for a new credit card and to get 2 free stocks from Webull when you open a brand new account and deposit $100 onto your brokerage account. I'd love to know which 2 free stocks you get. Now to start this video off with the right foot forward, we must begin with the best worst joke ever. And here it is. A credit card is a quick and easy way to build credit. But to get a credit card, you need credit. Now that is hilarious. And that's why today's video is all about a very special type of credit card that is geared for those of you who are building credit for the very first time, or at least within your first year of building credit. And this type of card is called a secured credit card. Now this is something that you've likely heard about before, but perhaps you don't fully understand the entire concept of why do these cards exist in the first place? How are they different from a regular unsecured credit card? Do they build credit in the same way and just as well as a regular credit card? And a whole bunch of more questions follow from there as well. So for that reason, I'm going to be unpacking all the mysteries and questions around secured credit cards. That way you'll be able to be fully empowered to decide if a secured card is the right one for you to pick to begin your journey, or the right one to choose if you need to continue your journey at least through your first year of building. And with the intro out of the way, let's begin by defining what a secured credit card is in the first place. A secured credit card is a credit card that requires a deposit in order to open the account. You'll then get a credit limit that's usually equal to the amount of your deposit. As an example, a $300 deposit gives you a $300 credit limit. Now that will hold true in almost every situation that you encounter with secured credit cards, but some banks do have different deposit requirements compared to their credit limit requirements. And we'll address that toward the end of this video in the Q&A session. You will definitely want to stick around for that. So what is this deposit used for? Well, the deposit reduces the risk to the card issuer and makes it much easier for you to get approved. Here's an example. If John gets a secured credit card and can't pay his bill, the card issuer can use the money from his deposit to pay off the card, and then likely close John's account. Because remember, credit cards are not free money. So what's really happening here is this. Every time a bank or financial institution issues a line of credit to somebody with an unproven track record of using credit, the bank is taking a huge risk. Let's say they give you a credit limit of $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 and you've never used credit before, therefore you have no track record. So the bank is taking the risk on you to use that line of credit responsibly. And you have every opportunity in the world to go use that frivolously and go buy whatever the heck you want, max out the card, default on it, not pay it back, and then get in huge trouble for it. Now, hopefully if you're watching this channel, that will never happen to you, but there are plenty of other people out there who don't have any sort of financial education as part of their background, so they do make those types of mistakes by spending more than they can afford and therefore racking up high balances that they can't pay back. And if you can't pay back your balance, then who's gonna do it? Well, the bank will pay it back, but then in turn shut your account down, and it just gets really nasty from there. I'm not saying it's impossible, but why go through that trouble if you don't need to? So the reason why secured credit cards exist is because you are guaranteeing your loan, you are backing it by your deposit, so to speak, therefore it is a secured type of loan. Regular credit cards are called unsecured lines of credit because they are not backed by a deposit. The banks are much more likely to give you a credit card if you first give them some money, to where if you can't pay off the card, then they can take the money you gave them up front to pay off the bill. That's how the banks reduce their risk when they issue a brand new card to a first-time borrower or a user of credit with no track record. Which leads us to this topic right here. The purpose of secured credit cards is for building credit for the first time, meaning you have no prior credit history. They're also a great tool to use for building credit with a short credit history, meaning you're within your first year of building credit, or also rebuilding credit after a financial hardship. So now that you've been oriented around the concept of a secured credit card, let's see how to actually apply for one. To get a secured credit card, all you have to do is the following. Fill out an application, provide your bank routing number and account number, transfer the minimum required deposit from your bank account, get approved and receive the card, and then activate it and use it. And for all of you visual learners out there, here's the credit card application. Simply fill this out online or over the phone, or perhaps even inside of a branch location if there's one near you. As you're filling out that application, you'll then have a place to put down your deposit. It'll probably be more than $30, maybe add a zero after that, 300 or so. And that's where your bank routing number and account number come into play. So on your application, you will put in those numbers from your existing checking or savings account. And then if you get approved, you will receive your card in the mail. By the way, if you go with Discover over here, there are a lot of different Discover It cards that you can choose from. There's the cashback version, there's the miles version, there are a couple different student versions, and a business version, and the secured version, and maybe some others that I'm not even thinking of right now. So if you are applying for your first card ever, I recommend the secured version of the Discover It card. But of course, Discover is not the only bank that issues secured credit cards. So here are a few more examples here on the screen. In addition to the Discover It secured credit card, you can also choose the Bank of America Cash Reward secured card, the secured MasterCard from Capital One, the Citi secured MasterCard, the Bank AmeriCard secured, and the Open Sky secured Visa credit card. All 6 of these credit cards are great starter cards to choose from. They will help you build your credit for the first time, and all tend to be much easier to get approved for than a standard unsecured credit card. There are many more banks out there, especially if you live in a more rural area, perhaps by a regional bank that does not have a national presence. So just realize that a secured credit card, no matter which bank issues it, will still help you build your credit for the first time. Just be aware that some of them do have annual fees. So if you're going to choose one of those, it's just something to be aware of because there are no fee options as well. So I do recommend choosing your top 2, 3, or 4, comparing them side by side, and then making an informed decision from there. And at some point, I'll probably do a secured credit card video where I review and compare some cards against each other. That way, I'll be doing all the homework for you. All right, I'm in the mood to answer some of your biggest questions, so let's go through them all right now with a Q&A session. I'm gonna put myself on the spot. First question, how big should my deposit be? Answer, at least the minimum required, and that can vary, and as much as you can comfortably afford. Now check out the note here at the bottom. Credit utilization refers to how much of your credit limit you're using. In general, using less than 30% of your credit limit will help you build your score higher and faster than if you were to use a high percentage of your limit. Now, in case you'd like a more thorough explanation of that, including when the best time to pay your bill is to boost your credit score, I did a separate video on that. I'll put that link down below in the description area and also link it to the end card at the very end of this video. That way you can go watch it whenever it's convenient for you. For now, just realize that if you spend this much and your credit limit is this much, you're pretty much maxing out your card all the time. Yes, you can build and increase your score from where you are, but your progress will likely be much slower and it'll be a lot more difficult to reach higher scores as you go along. So again, if you spend this much but your credit limit is this much, then you're using a much smaller percentage of your overall limit. Therefore, the banks see you as being a lower risk because you're not maxing out the total limit they gave you. So if you're in a financial situation where you can put up some more money to give yourself a bigger credit line from a bigger deposit, then I do recommend that you do so. But if you can't right now, that's also okay. You may be able to get a credit limit increase later on. The most important thing right now is to just get started. Next question, are secured cards the same as prepaid cards? The answer is no, and you can see the differences below. A secured credit card is an actual credit card that builds credit, meaning your information is reported to the credit bureaus. It does not store any funds and it's not reloadable, and it functions like a short-term loan, meaning buy now and pay later. On the other hand, a prepaid card is not a credit card and does not help build credit, meaning your information is not reported to the credit bureaus. Prepaid cards do store funds and are oftentimes reloadable, and they function more like a debit card where you buy now and pay now. So again, with a credit card, you basically have a short-term loan, you put purchases on it, and then you get a bill and you pay your bill off. With a prepaid card, you first load money onto it and then go spend that money as you use the card. So there wouldn't be a bill at the end of, let's say, a 30-day period that you then have to pay back. Question 3, can I use my deposit to pay my balance? The answer is no. Your deposit is not kept on the card. Rather, it's held by the card issuer as collateral against your credit line. It cannot be spent or used to pay your bill. As a note, if you do not or cannot pay your bill, the card issuer can use your deposit to pay the balance. then they'll likely close your account and report a negative mark to the bureaus as an account in collections. This can hurt your credit score for years. Stated differently, you're putting that deposit down as a way of saying, I promise to be responsible with the credit line that you give me. In return for that deposit, they then give you the secured credit card to then go use responsibly as you said you would. Then as time goes on and you use your secured card responsibly and prove that yes, you are a good borrower, we're then led into the next question. Can I get my security deposit back? And the answer here is yes. And this varies by bank, but there are usually 3 main ways to get your deposit returned. First, you could earn your deposit back after responsible use of your card over time, usually 6 to 12 months. And it's often issued as a statement credit when they give that deposit back to you. Second, you could graduate from a secured card to an unsecured card, meaning a regular credit card, after responsible use of your card. And third, if you close your account and pay off the entire card balance, your deposit will then be refunded. Next question, will my credit limit always equal my deposit? Well, in most situations, yes. Your credit limit will equal the amount of your deposit. However, exceptions do exist based on the bank or card you apply for. And if you look over to that screenshot from the secured MasterCard from Capital One, I boxed a couple lines of text in red. Here's what it says starting with the first box. Required security deposit. $49, $99, or $200 refundable minimum security deposit. Access to an authorized bank account is required to make your security deposit. And then below that, initial credit line. Make the minimum required security deposit and you'll get an initial credit line of $200. Plus, deposit more money before your account opens to get a higher credit line. So that's just one example where you might have a lower deposit requirement than the actual credit line that you get. But again, in a lot of situations, you will typically see your limit equal the deposit amount. Final question, can I get a credit limit increase on a secured credit card? And the answer is it depends on the card issuer's policy and the card in question. Some issuers offer limit increases without an additional deposit based on your use of the card over a period of time. Other issuers may allow limit increases by increasing your security deposit. And some secured cards do not offer limit increases at all. Secured credit cards are a great way to get your foot in the door to start building credit for the very first time, or again, to boost your score a little bit further within your first year before you then start to go apply for unsecured credit cards. It is possible to get a regular unsecured credit card as your first card ever, especially from the same bank with which you already have a checking or a savings account or some sort of established relationship. But since a lot of people still experience difficulty getting approved for the first time with a standard or regular credit card, I do recommend starting with the secured route in most situations to begin your journey. And with all that said, if you enjoyed today's video and believe it could benefit others, then please help me get it in front of more people by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications. Also, check out the links down below in the description area to apply for a new credit card and to get 2 free stocks from Webull when you open a new account and deposit $100 onto your brokerage account. I'd love to know which 2 free stocks you get. And if any of you out there already have a secured credit card, I'd love to know which one you have, or if you're about to start your journey for the first time, which one are you considering applying for as your first card ever? Let me know down below in those comments. I thank you all for tuning into today's video. I hope it brought you some great value. I'll see you again in future videos, and until then, remember, you are great.